Good morning, sports fans. This is George with Custom Tied Flies and Guide Service. And this morning, I'm going to make a tutorial for you for the Hawaiian Oama. That's O-A-M-A. It's tied on a Mustad 7766 in a 2/0. The thread is yellow Danville Flymaster in a 210 denier. The body is large silver hollow tinsel, and I'm using the UTC large silver hollow tinsel, but you can use Vivus or whatever else you want to use. The underwing is white bucktail. It's tied under the hook, and then there's pearl flash tied. Polar flash tied on top of the hook, and then that's the first piece of the fly. When that piece of the fly is done, it'll look like this. So there's no lead in this one, so we're just going to start off by getting tied in. Run the thread all the way back. Run the thread all the way forward. I'm kind of hoping that adjusting the light would get rid of some of the glare here. No, I got it. So just take your silver hollow tinsel, and I put mine on a material bobbin because I find it easier to work with. A couple half hitches in the front here. And so I'm using a Renzetti 2000, Renzetti Traveler 2000 vise. Normally for the salty stuff I use my Peak, but I just decided not to this time. There's your white bucktail. You want to get you a clump about 1/8 of an inch thick or so. I use spring scissors when I'm working with deer hair. That way I'm not, deer hair is really coarse, and you'll tear your scissors up if you don't. I like to just use a dedicated pair of scissors for deer hair, and not a pair of scissors that I paid $20 for. So you're looking for a piece of deer tail, 3 or 4 inches long like this, okay? And just even your butts up. Get a couple of loose wraps on there. and then cinch them down. Okay, and then I'd take a bodkin. I pull that hair up and then split it with the bodkin and comb it down the sides of the hook. Roll it over, make sure you got your hair where you want it, and then pearl polar flash. This is a 2033 color. From Hedron. And just take it, fold it in half over your finger. Put it on top of the thread. Ah. And you paint that with head cement. And you just let that sit off to the side and dry. Once it's dry, it looks like this. Get that mounted. Get tied back in. And then there's an order. Okay. So what I do on a complicated fly, I'll write down the order in which the materials go in, because if I don't, I'll get lost. And that happens to everybody, so that's why I just thought I'd mention it. So first that goes in is Grizzly, and this is a Magnum saddle from Metz, but you can use a regular saddle or a flat wing saddle. And it's your fly, you can use whatever you want, but that's what this is. So measure your, I'm going to turn this camera a little bit. There we go. You measure your saddle feather. You want it to be the length of the fly. All right. So that one goes in. Just put it on the side like a cheek, like you would on a flat wing fly. And do the same thing with the other side. it's okay if your head grows, because you kind of want it to. You don't want everything to be all balled up in the front. All right, so there's those saddles. Okay, and now yellow bucktail. Yellow bucktail. This is a large yellow bucktail. I get these from Hairline. And again, it's about the length of the fly. You don't want to put the bucktail in all the way up behind the eye. You want to put it back here some. Take a couple of loose wraps and then spread it around with your thumb. Just kind of mash it down and spread it, and then cinch it down. After the yellow bucktail is gold polar flash. Gold polar flash. You want about the same amount of gold polar flash that you had with the pearl. And you're going to put it on the same way you did with the pearl. You're going to put it on the thread. Get it in place. Take a wrap. And then spread it around like you did the deer hair. You don't want it all in one spot. All right. Next is yellow Grizzly. This is an American saddle from Whiting. Again, you don't have to use this product. You can use flat-wing Grizzlies. I get a lot of stuff like that from Ewing. But you're going to select 2 yellow Grizzly feathers from the hide. You want them to be about the same length as the fly. And you put them on, shiny side out. I do not trim these before I put them on. It helps keep the feather flat. Okay, then after that, there's a product that Hedron has. It's called lateral scale flash. Kind of, if you look at it real close, it's got little bumpies, so it looks like scales. Just clip one of those out of the bunch. You want to even those tips up. And trim that. It's going to have a curve to it, so you want to put the curved side toward the fly. Okay, and now that you've done that part, you're going to take a drop of super glue and put it right on top so it soaks down into the hair and binds that down in. I like to take my bodkin and kind of spread it out a little bit. It helps it dry. Now, next is olive bucktail. So, olive bucktail, you're going to get a clump. Kind of pull some of the shorties out. Again, the same, just like with the yellow, you don't want to put it up right behind the eye. Just take some loose wraps, smash it down, then cinch it down with the thread. Now you want to cover up those edges. Okay. Then is more gold flash. Well, this is going to go on a little differently. It's about the same amount of gold flash as you used earlier. But instead of putting it on the thread, even it up. You put half down the far side. Take a couple of wraps and spread it out. And then you bring the other half across the top. That didn't work. There we go. The other half across the top and down the near side. So it's all spread out. See how it's all spread out? Then cover that in thread. And then gold lateral scale flash. You put it on the same way you put the pearl on. Clip it off of the pack. Put the curved side towards the fly. Put a little drop of cement in there, or glue rather, super glue. Then you get the cap. Which is a little less than what you would put on there in the first place. Spread that out. Cinch it down. Make sure it's covered in thread. All the ends are hidden. Another drop of glue. And the cheeks. It's red polar flash. Red polar flash. Now, with this, you don't need the whole thing that you clipped. You need half of it. So you can set the other side, the other half aside for the next fly. Put it on the thread. And you want to trim it off so it's about halfway down the shank, about halfway down to the bend. So about there. You want to make sure that all the olive hair tips and everything else are covered in yellow thread. Then bring that forward. Now, in order to make sure that my head is flat for the eyes, I take a pair of needle nose pliers and I smash the head sideways. So I got a good flat spot to put my eyes on. And then I'll paint that in head cement. And I set it off to the side so it'll dry. And here's one ready for eyes. So we're going to go ahead and put the eyes on this one. I use 5mm silver 3D eyes. So in order to put them on, put a little drop of super glue on. Not a lot, because you don't want to get this stuff on your fingers and it'll mess everything all up. Like that. All right. All you gotta do is paint them on, or seal them in, seal them on. I use this Solarez UV resin with a little nozzle on it, and what I do is I make like a UV resin strap. On each eye. This is really thin Solarez. It's the extra thin. Or ultra thin. And then to fill in the big pieces, I use this UV resin I get from China. It's pretty inexpensive. I think I give I gotta get some more. I give $20 for 200 grams, and you know, that lasts a good long time, so it does. You just kind of dot it in. You want to get it, you want to fill in so that the eyes and head are all sealed up. You don't have to use a whole lot. The important thing about UV resin is matching the curing frequency with your curing light. So in this particular case, this UV resin that I'm using cures at between 450 and 650 nanometers. I got a light that emits at 650 nanometers, and my UV resin cures really well, quickly, hard, not sticky. If I used a curing frequency that was not consistent with what the resin needs in order to cure it correctly, then it would, well, it wouldn't work. It would be all tacky and once you've done all that, you just want to feel the top. If you find a snag, usually you find snags around the eyes. Anywhere where you find a snag, that's some place where water can move off of, and it'll mess up the hydrodynamics of your retrieve. Okay. Yep, that's good. Yep, that's good. All right. And there you have it. The Hallelujah in a 2-aught. This has been George with Custom Tied Flies and Guide Service. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. Excuse me. You can find this and other interesting tutorials on flies at my website, www.custom-tied.com. That's custom-tied.com. Have a splash, don't forget the dash. You can also find my virtual fly shop on Facebook by searching Custom Tire. That's T-Y-E-R, Custom Tire 02. So I hope you enjoyed building this as much as I enjoyed building it with you. And happy tying.